Thank you so much for having me. It's been an interesting presentation so far. It's good to be outdoors again. I feel like that we're kind of coming like from the hive and we're a little bit rusty. So I'm going to start with a little bit of history. This is on the wrong slide. Let's start from the beginning. Tourism is basically based on bookings. Whether we talk about B2B or B2C, everything is based on bookings. So therefore, we can look at the backbone of the business is the booking part. A lot has changed in the administration of bookings over the past years and decades, especially from the beginning of this century. The booking handling has evolved in line with the importance of the booking, because we know the booking is everything. It is the glue that holds together the travel itinerary and the plan for the individual of their tour, because a trip is defined as movement from point A to point B. With booking systems, the booking has now a place in the environment where the booking feels safe, secure, and is most comfortable in an organized structure. So just a few years ago, booking systems were heavy to work with, complex, and for some sectors in tourism, they didn't even exist, or maybe just on paper. Hotel systems used to be large pieces of paper where rooms and calendar was drawn and handwritten information put on them. Hotel systems in the 20th century used to be expensive, complex, and operationally heavy. They were usually on-premise and only applicable for the larger players. So we basically went from face-to-face booking back in the old days to some toll-free numbers that used to dial in or send a fax or a telegram, and to semi-automated, to online, and now to the cloud. So finally, around 2010, the hotel systems came into the future and started to be built on the cloud and stored in the cloud. That meant the systems are much more scalable, they're cheaper to operate, they have a lower learning curve, and had flexible service. So hotels could basically choose the size of the system that applied to the operation, and therefore smaller hotels had the opportunity to streamline their business. So hoteliers could manage and monitor their business from wherever. We could argue that finally bookings were now on their first class on their journey across the world. Because, of course, as we know, that bookings is the most valuable thing any tourism operator has. Without the booking, the business does not exist. Because a booking is, of course, a collection of service products that is ordered and eventually paid for. Cloud solutions changed a lot, but they are not a guarantee that the booking system is perfect. There are many players on the market that offer cloud solutions, but still do not have an open API or do not allow everyone to connect with them. And usually these companies base their business model on charging API fees. The newest tech today is so-called API-first software, and they do allow anyone to connect with them, which basically makes tech environment grow faster, become an even more open world, and a more fun environment to work in. We are basically on the autobahn into the future of tech, and larger players are finally realizing that in order to be a part of the development of this world, they need to open up and rethink their business model. And there are plenty of great companies that offer software solutions that have been built on top of another software, not only in tourism. We have Auður, which is built on banking tech. We have Tempo, which is built on Jira. We have Travia by GoDo, which is built on multiple booking software. And we have Captio software built on Salesforce. And there are plenty of other examples across the tech globe. We can all agree that tech changed tourism for the better. Operators had it difficult using multiple systems with multiple logins, and the systems that the hotels used are various. To name a few, they had a channel manager, hotel management system, POS system, human resource system, review system, accounting software, and so forth. Listing these systems can be overwhelming, and it can actually take several months to bring new staff into the system complexity. However, it should be noted that despite great advances in technology, there are still systems in place that are not making the most of the interconnections with other systems. As a result, those who use such systems will always be one step behind the competitor. The good thing is about the modern technology is that today companies are constantly working together to connect these solutions so that the environment is one instead of many. The complexity can be summarized as the diagram shows. A lot has been done in the API-first environment. Many solutions are out there that can be interconnected, that make use of each other and for the operation, but it's entirely dependent on the systems offering an open API. All of the systems and the complexity have arisen because of the booking. If the booking would not flow into the operation, there would be no need for the technical hassle around the business. Then we could just go back to the piece of paper. Too many operators look at these systems to carry out work for them, so it saves up time and creates efficiency. But that's great. But sometimes we do forget that we need more than just automation, and I believe that we should spend more time using data and make decisions based on data. The amount of data that each tourism company has at hand about the company, about the customer, and about the history of transaction is like gold. In a few moments, we're going to look at a case study about how to use data with modern technology and how data can help us streamline the business, create more revenue, and improve guest happiness. But before we go there, I want to discuss a little bit where we are with tech today in this industry. It is a little bit strange that we are sitting here talking about how far, or maybe not so far, we are with travel tech when we are talking about self-driving cars, unmanned space shuttles going to Mars, food drones, and some groundbreaking tech in life science. As we have discussed, cloud solutions appeared in travel tech around 2010, and from there, tech has been growing exponentially. But in 2010, I think most of us already had internet banking, really fast Wi-Fi, and we had all seen, and many of us had smartphones. But just before this, many hotels had a huge computer in the basement of the hotel to operate bookings. Thankfully, travel tech is growing as fast as other tech now. Tech and tech development goes hand in hand. The buyer is used to certain things in one place, and the buyer wants to use the same tech as they use in one place in another place. So research has shown that travelers like to do the same things they do normally, also when they travel, such as ordering a taxi, pay for use of service, and order room service. But they also want to do things that does not include tech, such as asking for directions, asking for recommendations, and making a complaint, because these are not things that we're used to do with tech. Let's take an example of a process of booking a luxury hotel a few years ago. It used to be based on standards of the room or the product, location, amenities, service level, and last but not least, pricing. Let's fast forward to this very day, and many hotels think that this is the same process. But why is it that Hotel A, that offers the same room, same service, same amenities for a lower price than Hotel B, but still Hotel A is not guaranteed the booking? The answer is simple, but yet very complicated. Because hotels are not in the operation of selling rooms. They are in the business of selling experience. Today's tech is evolving in a way where hoteliers can use data to make service as spot on as possible for each and every guest. And the data can be used to maximize the revenue, increase loyalty, and offer better service for the guest. The hotelier can use the same data to streamline the business and make the business more profitable. And all of this is based on information from that little thing we call a booking. The same booking as people made when they were looking at gladiators fight in the Colosseum. The future of tech is going to build that the technology is going to be tailored to the operation rather than tailoring the operation to the tech. And moreover, tailor the tech to the tourist rather than tailoring the tourist to the tech. I would think that for the future that most tech will be able to talk and share data and information amongst one another with our consent, obviously. In that way, we as users and future buyers will get better service and our service will be spot on. And now I want to showcase to you a case study that we have been working on for the past 10 months that utilizes data to make businesses better and tourism more reliable and profitable. The problem that many companies in tourism, especially hotels, is overbooking. They overbook for certain days, they overbook for certain periods, because the hotels know that bookings are not necessarily guaranteed business. So they overbook to leverage themselves for the uncertainty. The overbooking strategy is in many cases built on industry knowledge, feeling, and a lot of experience. We see that tourists are booking with much shorter advance today, which means that the hotels will know later in the stage if the booking is confirmed or cancelled, which means that they have a shorter time to resell the room and therefore lose revenue. Some hotels have tried to make the cancellation policy stricter, which may have a negative effect on the tourist and the travel agency. We've been using machine learning to predict the validity of the bookings by looking at historical data. What this means is that we can predict how likely and how unlikely a certain booking will be cancelled. And just a little bit of a tech jargon, we use gradient boosting, and that's a machine learning technique for regression and classification problems, which produces a prediction model in the form of an ensemble of weak prediction models, which is typically decision trees. And it relies on the intuition that the best possible next model, when combined with the previous model, minimizes the overall prediction error. So what we do is that we train our model with past data to predict new data. We train the model with 80% of the old data and predict the remaining 20% of the data. And therefore, we can see how well we did. So this is a subset of maybe 50 hotels, and these are 20% of the bookings that we managed to do a prediction. So we managed to make a prediction of 84% of all of the bookings, and we only had 16% uncertainty, which is a pretty good result. And this is the distribution of it. So we managed to predict 21% of the bookings were likely cancellations, and 63 are likely confirmations. So we managed to correctly predict 94% of all bookings, which basically means that we have a 6% error. And this means that we scored a 9.4 out of 10, which is pretty good if you compare it to a test that you do in exam. For the confirmation predictions, we managed to predict 90% correctly, with a 10% error when it came to the confirmation part. But what does this mean? If we put this to practice in a hotel that is in the greater Reykjavík area, it's a medium-sized hotel. Hotel has seasonality, as we are all known in the tourism industry. It has about 380 million ISK revenue a year, and the cancellation ratio is about, on average, 27%. The occupancy is correlated with the revenue, obviously, and the average occupancy was 70%. These are 2019 numbers, not 2020. So how can we put our machine learning model into practice at this particular hotel? We said that this hotel has around 27% cancellation rate. It would be pretty unfair to me to say that 27% of all cancellations is lost revenue. I can agree with myself that that's quite unfair. But if we would try to influence 5% of all cancelled bookings by trying to persuade them not to cancel, we would increase revenue just under 5 million ISK a year. We said that 90% of the bookings, we can predict 90% of the bookings to be confirmed, and we can actually classify them to highly likely to be confirmed, moderately likely to be confirmed, and so forth. What if we could upsell the top bookings that are highly likely to be confirmed? Then we could increase our revenue by about 17 million a year. And hotels are usually upselling something. But using this technology, they can actually upsell the people that has the highest probability of buying an upsell. If we combine these two numbers, the hotel would basically be increasing the revenue by 22 million a year, which is a 6% average in increase. Obviously, this is a use case for a hotel in Reykjavik, and this is purely based on revenue. But what we can use this algorithm for is, for example, prediction of revenue, prediction of when people are going to check in, so you can make better staff plans at your hotel, and so forth. This is the first version of our algorithm, and we plan to do multiple models that can operate on multiple information that is based on the booking. So thank you so much.
People in here, do you have any questions for Haukur? We have. Just thank you very much for your talk. It's very interesting to hear about. There's one clarification I'm so interested in. On a general note, you say that the future of travel tech, it's not all about automation, but more about the data. Mm-hmm. But are these kind of trends combined in some ways? Like the automation is driven by the data collection?
Yeah, of course, but some hotels use automation to some extent too much. Mm-hmm. They sometimes automate everything, mm-hmm, and forget to use maybe data to try to take better care of the customer. Mm-hmm. And doing that automatically is maybe not always possible.
Right. Sometimes you need the human touch.
Exactly.
But with the insights of data.
Yes, exactly.
Given. I just wanted to have the opportunity to have this talk here with the plant we have here to make for that kind of discussion. But thank you again so much, Haukur.